Okay, hello. Just one moment while I fix my setup here. Had a bit of a hardware failure, so we're kind of flying by the seat of our pants here for a moment. Just bear with me here. Okay, I think we're about ready. I have everything up and running, it looks like. Yeah, okay. I couldn't let well enough be. Stupid weebs got me stuck on Tuonela. I've been thinking about it the past like 5 hours now. And while I don't have work tomorrow, I could just stream this tomorrow. I feel like streaming somewhere tonight. So let's do that. We can do. They're no longer in tournament mode. Hey, what's up, Light? Welcome in. Hope you had a good day. Thank you for the lurk. We're going to be doing Apotheosis mod with a set seed called tuonela, which basically inverts the world. You have to climb your way up, and everything starts with a set of random enemy and material shift. Should be interesting. Tuonela. Something shifted to poison. Poisoned us right off the bat. It was not great. Considering instead of its acid. Why is this so much louder today? It was not this loud earlier. Yeah, I noticed. Not sure why. And no worries, Light. I will just the lurk is fine. I'll add I will keep those commands in mind for you. That is still very loud. I will make it work. Oh, we're losing super rares. That's not good. I'm also excited for the Dune MMO. I had heard that that was going to be a thing. I have not consumed much media with regards to Dune. Why does this still feel loud? That's probably why. Oh, you've played the open beta. Nice. And feel free to tell me whatever you feel like telling me. Like I said, I've not consumed too much media with regards to Dune. But I'm always happy to hear about good games in general. Oh, it's one of these. There's flying. Is that like literal flight? Well, I would imagine so. Dune is space age, if I'm not mistaken. With the ornithopter? Nice. That's like the little personal hover vehicle thing, right? They say there's about 50 hours of story and PvE gameplay. Ooh. Pretty good. We got to play the first 5 to 15 hours. Nice. I'm assuming it's following, it's either loosely following the stuff from the books, or it's at the very least set properly in the lore. Okay. So it's not following the book story. So they're just taking ideas from the books and adding or making a new story. As long as they do it properly, I feel like that would be a good way to introduce people to the lore of the Dune universe, I guess, would be the right term. The game, as far as I know, the Dune guy getting high as shit and peering into all universes, and this is the only good one or some shit. The Dune guy. Not sure who that is. I know there's the main protagonist, I think his name is like Atreides, something like that. Starts with an A. So that guy looking into like some alternate universe or something. We're sent down to Dune to find the Fremen, which were genocided or something. Paul Atreides, yes, that one. Okay, that's definitely an interesting premise. Okay. That was a lot closer than I thought it should be. Okay, something shifted to smoke. Something shifted to swamp. Okay. Started with Bitterbolt. Not bad. They also had to change some lore in the games because apparently if you use anti-tank weaponry against a human shield, a nuke goes off. In the alternate reality, they have a safety mechanism. That's interesting. At the potion shop up there. The monetization seems good as well. I would hope they'd stick to just the regular title price, but I know that's asking a bit much nowadays. Okay, so what do we have here? Is that lively? No, it's hastium. Radium. I couldn't see what the blue stuff was. We can go down and check. It is an MMO with updates already planned for about a year. That's fine. That's fair. Thorium. I think that has something to do with being able to fly. We also have Atunium. We have Veloium. Chaotic Poly. Berserkium. Thorium. Limitless Flight. That's interesting. Scouting powder here. Pointing to the left. That's interesting. Free updates. Oh yeah, I mean, if you buy most MMOs, if you buy the title game, like you pay the initial game and then you pay the subscription, all of the updates usually come free of charge, unless it's like a full title expansion. Final Fantasy and World of Warcraft do the same thing. No subscription. Okay. Interesting. I'm assuming their monetization is probably along the lines of cosmetics, which is not a bad idea, but that's not gonna keep them afloat for very long, I think. Oh, they're going the DLC route? I guess that's not terrible. I would much rather just pay a subscription if I'm honest though. As a long-time MMO player. You don't want to sub, to be honest? That's also fair. Everybody's got their preferences. Lake. The base pre-purchase game is $50. That's a pretty... I mean, that's pretty standard for most MMOs. If it's the current base game, it'll usually be between 50 and 60 bucks. Oh, that's so bad. We're so screwed. think the normal game is also 50, but I'm not 100% sure. Normal game being a not MMO Dune game? Ouch. Oh. Oh yeah, usually the price doesn't change from base to launch. Pre-orders, if you get like a limited edition, usually costs more, because that'll have like bonus cosmetics or whatever the case may be. Something shifted to warm blood. I don't... Interesting. It wasn't slime. Wasn't regular blood. Wasn't acid. This is a tunium, if I'm not mistaken. Could definitely make use of that. That's oil. It's also going to have an open market. I mean, I would hope so. Most MMOs usually have an open market. I know the Final Fantasy market is fairly competitive. From what I remember anyway, when I played. The endgame is something called the Lanceret and Deep Desert. Okay, I'm assuming those are the equivalents of like a team raid or something. Definitely sounds cool. Lanceret is the political power once you join a faction. Okay, so kind of like a guild war sort of thing then? It could be interesting. Deep Desert is like 4 times the size of the normal map with PvP mostly, and it wipes every IRL week. You take your spoils with you. Okay. I am familiar with those kinds of systems. I'm not a big PvP enjoyer myself, but I could see the appeal. The Deep Deserts is also handcrafted. I'm gonna need you to explain that one to me. I don't know what you mean by handcrafted. And apparently there won't be a duplicate for at least a year. Handcrafted as in it's not procedurally generated. I mean, I don't think you can really procedurally generate things in an MMO. That would be very difficult to pull off. I'm sure it has been done, but you have to know your player base first to know how to implement it properly. Hey, what's up, Trask? Welcome. Long time no see. You could do it for a map layout for a week. That is true. Fishing is very loud in my ears. Let's turn that down. It has been a minute. Well, I've been working. I've been very busy with that. But, we have some time. We, had a stream earlier today. There was a bit of a Noita Nemesis tournament that went on. I think there was like 6 of us. Somehow I managed to pull off a win, so that was fun. But then after that, I was told about Posios's, the tuonela seed. And I have not been able to stop thinking about how I'm going to make my way up. So we're here doing this now. How have you been? Okay. No Where's Light will be here. Ooh, that is painful. I recently saw that Sora added the ability to generate images and use your own images as inputs and make changes, so I've been doing that. Fair enough. I have not been keeping up with any AI generation stuff, but I have seen some very interesting things when I do look into it. I'm glad you've been keeping busy though. That's the important thing. Oh, multi-magic, okay. Don't know what that is yet. What did you pick up? What was that? That's a big shark. Jeez. Grat. Kinda tempted to test my luck here. What should be something like a sandal? Oh, that's not bad. The urchin. I'm okay with that. How to spend gold? I have not looked into it that far yet, but I'm sure I will figure something out. For now, it is just fish. But I'm rich now? I wouldn't say rich necessarily. I've seen this fishing thing in other people's streams, and they've got like tens of thousands of gold. We've got a long way to go there. Oh, hey, what are you? You are a cool dude. Nice. Nope, you are not friendly though. Okay. Rude. Why do you have so much health? Okay, we'll pick up the unknown spells, why not? I'm gonna figure out how that works eventually. Oh, hello, crystal thing. I don't know if that's acid. It scares me. That is not acid. That is greed curse liquid. Okay. Definitely good we didn't stand in there. Let's just let the poison take this thing out as much as it can.
Meow.
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 Oh, that's so painful. I hate these robots so much. This is so good. I love this thing. Anytime you get into attacks in GTA. Basically, yeah. There's always it's either some kind of like really hyped up party music or like rap music. There's literally no other options in GTA 5. Round 2. I don't know if doubling it up is gonna do much of anything. The bug swarm, okay. It does not overlap, no. It might queue up though. There you go. That's a lot of weird fungus. You know what? I'm feeling a little funny. We'll do the fun thing. Oh, okay. I wonder if something shifted into... Yeah, something shifted into weird fungus. It wasn't water, it wasn't vomit, it might have been oil. I want to put a cooldown on that one? Maybe. It hasn't been spammed yet, so I'm fine with it being the way it is. Eventually, chat will get tired of seeing it on the screen, is my hope. Pedro, 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 prácticamente en medio de Santa Fe. Pedro, 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 vida divina. Yeah, I think it was oil, just or maybe toxic sludge. Feels like a toxic sludge formation, actually. That's interesting. Toxic sludge to weird fungus. That's gonna be very odd. Yeah, that's why I said I'll try and figure out something for that. Because as far as I know, there wasn't anything that I saw spend the gold on. It's sort of just like a leaderboard tracking metric. Wow. Huh? There goes all that weird fungus up there. Overstimulation the game. I'm fine with all of the redeems. It is a little hard to know what to react to, but I'm okay with all of this. I wouldn't have included it otherwise. You are really going ham on those redeems, like... I am slightly concerned. All seeds are applied at once. Enemies drop significantly less. Oh, there we go. There's the shift. Worm blood to... Or something to worm blood. Okay. That's going to be interesting. And it was not the toxic sludge, so that's good to know. We can finally start seeing actual colors instead of the weird purple stuff.
Meow.
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 Meow. Meow. Meow.
Meow. Meow. Meow. Meow. Meow.
Meow.
Huh?
Meow.
This is my 4th time in Apotheosis? 5th? I played a couple earlier. Then I have played the mod maybe 2 times before. I'm relatively new. And then Scared of Weebs told me about the tuonela seed. And so we're here now. Oh, was it regular blood that got transformed to worm blood? No. I was hoping a little too much. Yippee! Yippee! That's a acid crystal. We should get that up. Where? But Dune. Okay, that reached a little further than I thought it would. That was scary. I have 5 bombs. I could bomb my way up. Kinda wanna see if we can find anything interesting though. I was in the Noita Discord earlier today and someone posted that they got a 5-minute 15-second speedrun in Noita on their 5th win in the game. I look 100 wins at this point and my fastest run is still like 30 minutes long. That's kind of insane. I feel like whoever posted that may have enhanced the truth a little bit. I highly doubt even the most skilled player would just automatically get a 5-minute win on their 5th run. On their 5th natural run anyway. They either came in with full drop PvP. Oh, for the Lancer, it's supposed to be guild activities and you align your guild with one of the 2, soon to be 3 factions. And whoever wins will decide the spoils. Okay, interesting. Yeah, they could have reset their stats. They could have just started a new account in general. Okay, chest mimics are a thing. Good to know. Or not chest mimics, bomb mimics. But yeah, whenever I see a thing like that on the Discord or the Reddit, I usually take it with a grain of salt. There goes the acid. This was a lot of toxic sludge over here. What am I doing? I can do things with this. Large weird fungus. We'll take that. And drink it. Or I guess dump it out. That is a lot of weird fungus in there. Really a lot. Holy. Something shifted into weird fungus again. Okay. This is going to be a very interesting run. Go ahead and pick up all this worm blood. Going to be very useful. Hear news about the marathon? Which marathon are we talking about? Because I've heard different things about some marathons, and I know there were recently a couple of marathons out by where I live. Marathon the game, extraction shooter. I have not. Do tell. Massive debacle, really? Bungie stole someone's art to make the game. Oh boy. And not like a little bit of art either. Yeah, I would imagine if it became a whole thing, then it wouldn't just be like 1 or 2 pieces. That's really unfortunate. I will never understand why these large corporations feel the need to try and cut corners on everything when they have the money to just buy whatever they need. The whole aesthetic was copy and pasted. Jeez. Okay. That was a lot of damage. Compared to Arc Raiders, they're direct competition. I'm not big on the shooters, so a lot of these names don't really mean much to me. But I do understand if they copied the aesthetic of another game, it's because the other game was doing well enough that they felt like it should be copied. That still doesn't excuse the fact that they did it, but Corrupted Rock. That doesn't seem like a good thing. Wait, Arc Raiders is the artist name? I'm confused. Arc Raiders is their direct competition. Right, no, they took the slime plus rock equals corrupted rock? Huh? So confused. I'm also confused about the conversation. So, I understand they took the aesthetic and the art from an indie artist. But what is Arc Raiders? Is that a different game? Is that a company? I'm not sure what we're talking about here. Oh, slime just becomes corrupted rock. That's good to know. Arc Raiders is a different game. I see. I had their open beta around when Marathon did. Okay. And I'm assuming we completely outshine them, of course, as indie companies have been doing recently. Regular blood is turned to slime, which then turns to corrupted rock. What the hell is going on here? Oh, I see. That does holy damage. Okay. What is with all of these weird enemies? Okay. Oh. I've never seen that enemy before, really. Neither have I. What a coincidence. What the hell was that? It should be in the killed by section, I think. Unless it doesn't show up here. It doesn't look like it shows up here. That's very weird. It might just be specific to tuonela seed. That's interesting. Bungie really needs to win and it doesn't seem like it's gonna happen. Yeah, Bungie's they've been shitting the bed pretty bad recently. A lot of the big AAA companies have. God, it's one of these things again. The trailer for Marathon was pretty good in my opinion. I mean, the trailer could be as good as it, you know, as it could possibly be. It is a trailer. But if the gameplay doesn't deliver, then it's kind of just all for naught. It has futuristic horror aesthetic. That does sound fun. It was stolen for the most part, but you know. Yeah, that is another part of that whole situation, I guess. Completely forgot about that. Allegedly, it was one employee that stole the art without Bungie knowing. And they usually have a fall guy for those sorts of situations. Oh, that's a lot of acid. Okay. That employee is fired. Yeah. Like I said, they usually have a fall guy for those sorts of situations. As unfortunate as it is, they don't go into that sort of stuff completely blind. That's Squidward, right? No. What the hell is that? Oh, I think I've seen these before. They drain your mana and then they kill you, right? If I remember correctly? Okay, they don't kill you, but they do drain your mana. Okay, can't go that way. Most of the art team follows the user they stole from. Huh. It's almost like they might have known what they were doing. Okay, it does kill you after a moment. I guess when there's too many of them close together. Oh no, there's one in the corner there. Mana degradation. Why is he stuck kicking? It's so weird. Something about the mana degradation effect makes you constantly kick. That's so funny. I guess it's just the animation that plays. Not actually kicking anything. Let's see if we can go from up above. They really should have been, yeah. I hadn't heard about that specific situation, but I have been seeing a lot of companies recently making the same sorts of mistakes. Did you hear about Nintendo? The Pal World thing? Yes. Pet, pet, pet. Thank you. Thank you for the head pats. Much worse. Is it the whole Switch 2 thing and like the cartridges and whatever? What song was that? That was, I believe that was from Super Mario Brothers 3? That and more probably. Yeah, Nintendo's been I don't want to say targeted, because that makes it seem like they've done nothing wrong, but they could definitely have handled a lot of things much better. Funny that played right as I mentioned Nintendo, yeah. Okay, their hitbox is really wide. If you purchase a Switch 2, they can remotely break the console permanently. You might as well say it's your property. They can't do that. But it's not your property. Yeah. That's one of the things that I was alluding to when I said they could have handled certain things better. I personally don't agree with the way they're doing that, and I know very many people don't. But working in the tech industry, I can tell you that there's always a workaround for that sort of thing. I would never recommend doing such a thing on a public platform, but those workarounds usually do exist, especially in the early editions of consoles when they first come out. On top of physical games being keys to digitally download and costing more. The games, I mean, that's not too different from current practices on PlayStation and Xbox. So trying to pin that on Nintendo like being such a big problem it's a foregone conclusion. It's gonna happen on all consoles regardless. The keys that you're probably $80, this was already disproven. $80 was in foreign currency. It wasn't US dollars. It was, I believe, in, I want to say pounds or euros, something European, which when converted to US is about 60. So the prices that there have been like 2 or 3 different channels that have looked into this already on YouTube. The numbers that were pulled out were from foreign websites that had early listed the game's prices. And then people kind of just ran with it, saying that it was USD without properly fact checking. Regardless, even if the price does go up to $70 or $80, like, we've already got these quote-unquote quadruple A games charging $40, or not 40, $80 or $70 for their dog shit games. Right, I'm aware, Light, and I'm telling you, those numbers were taken from foreign websites that were not in USD. And people just ran with the number and reported it as though it was. Why are there lava things down here? Do you consider Best Buy a reputable source? Depends on what you are trying to confirm. How much games cost? I mean, they would have the MSRP value of a game. And then they could make a profit judgment based on that MSRP. But again, the prices that were floating around on the internet, they were reporting it as USD when it was not USD. That's the clarification I've been trying to make here. As far as I know, the high price range, the $79 and $89.99 numbers that were floating around, they came from European websites, which convert differently to actual USD. Which game are we talking about? I'll pull it up right now. Okay, it is listed as $79 flat at Walmart, $79.99 at GameStop, $79.99 at Best Buy. Huh. Okay, well, regardless, you can still think of Nintendo as a greedy company, that's fine, but I stand by the notion that it's an inevitable increase in price. We've already got these, like I said, quote-unquote quadruple A games with half-baked products that are half AI generated and coded very poorly by some intern, also being upcharged to $80 and $90. So you think quadruple A games aren't worth how much you pay for? I think most games aren't worth how much people or these companies are pricing them at. That's fine, we'll be right back. Flammable gas has turned it to steam. That is good to know. I mean, Oblivion was $50 with the remake. Right. But again, I don't feel like Oblivion should have been worth $50 even. It is a reskin of a game that was originally $40. So there's minimal effort there, aside from just upscaling the resolution on everything. Like even the code engine and everything was basically ripped out of the old game and put into the new one. So it's literally just a copy-paste product. But at the very least it should have cost $40. Do you know if Oblivion was playable on different versions of Windows? It should have been. As far as I know, it's still playable, like to this day. And they added new features. I think you're defending the wrong thing here. Like, they fixed a couple of big issues that were in the original. Fine. But like, when you compound the amount of income that they're gonna get from a game, just by increasing it by a single dollar, you sell hundreds of thousands of copies. For that single dollar you increase, you get profit of hundreds of thousands of dollars. It should not have been worth more than $40. It was literally a copy-paste project with a tiny bit of polish on top. You compare that to something like Elden Ring, would probably be a better thing to defend. It's an original IP. Granted, it is made by a studio that, and you're mad about them making money. I'm not mad about them making... I think you're misconstruing what I've been saying. My issue is not with companies making money or anything of the sort, but a literal copy-paste product like Oblivion should not be compared or put on the same level as an original IP or a new installment of an existing IP. Elden Ring, for example, can be considered a new installment of the Dark Souls series. They follow a lot of the same formula. It is now set in an open world format instead of the linear paths that you get in more traditional Souls games. But you've got a lot of new IP for enemies, new skill set, everything is basically written from the ground up, aside from just having a basic formula of the Dark Souls series. I feel like the innovation is what determines the value of a product, especially in a creative medium like video games. Circle of Vigor is huge, yeah. It's gonna see very limited use, at least for a while, but it is nice to have. Blonde Potion doesn't do much for us here. I could empty it out and try to get this. As someone who hasn't played the original, I would rather pay for the new one and know it's a good game / story. I've never played the original Oblivion either. I've not played any of the Oblivion games. I have played Skyrim, which was the spiritual sequel to Oblivion, since it is set in the same story. Universe, not story. But I agree with you. I am okay with paying $50 for something that was originally $40 because it was already a good game to begin with. They added some polish, they upgraded the graphics and everything, that's fine. They increased the value of the original product to match the price that they increased it for. But when you have things like that are completely from the ground up new products, especially in today's market where everything is expensive for almost no reason, seemingly. You need to consider that all of those new IPs and everything have to have started somewhere. You want new products to be funded, exactly. What the hell? Okay. That was rude. It's expensive because most game studios are there to make games, but to make are not there, I'm assuming is what you meant to say. To make games, but to make investors happy. That's the problem that I have with a lot of the AAA studios as of recently, yes. A lot of the big names, Nintendo is part of that problem, have fallen prey to, you know, making investors their primary concern instead of making games what they are supposed to be, is entertainment. But to that same note, I can understand investors are yes, I did die, Trask. To that same note though, I do understand the investors are what have allowed the company to stay afloat in the current economic market. And so in order to keep them happy, you kind of have to cater to them a bit. Which in the case of Nintendo and EA Games and all these other companies means they need to make concessions on whether or not their game design is going to be either geared towards making gamers happy or trying to rake in as much profit as possible. Unfortunately, it is always in the favor of the investors currently, because of the way the current political market field area is. It's a mess. There's even a Destiny lawsuit about their first story being their first story-based thing being someone else's story, but they deleted it so they can't prove it isn't. And if they do bring it back, they could say they changed it to remove content. Ecosystem, that's the word I was looking for, yes. And more teleportanium. Let's get rid of it this time. Destiny has shelved paid DLC, and now they're being sued over it. I never liked Destiny. If you're talking about the shooter game, I've always hated that series. Ever since I first saw it, I thought it was maybe fun to look at, but it was definitely predatory in the way that it handled its transaction market. People really hated it when they were willing to delete content I paid for. I can see what you're talking about. Yeah. Again, it's The whole content deletion thing is a separate issue, I feel like, but it does tie into the whole thing of like not really owning the stuff that you're paying for, which is kind of a scummy thing. So to that end, I agree with the whole like Nintendo doing the whole key thing not being great. I understand why they're doing it from a security standpoint. You kind of just, you allow the player to download the game onto the device, and then they can only access the game on the device as long as you have that key card, which, fine, fair enough. You're buying the license through the key card itself instead of actually physically owning the game. That's the part that rubs me the wrong way. I don't hate Nintendo. I feel like they're just mishandling certain things that they could very easily fix if they wanted to. Yeah, they are deliberate choices. I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying that they are things that they could easily fix if they really wanted to. And it's not like it's something that's already been like set in stone. They've put out the information, but there is still time for them to change some things. Right? I'm aware. Again, I agree with you. Okay, that's a bomb. They hear complaints and still intend to do it. Which pre-order sold out in 1 hour. Right, and that's because for Nintendo, the value from Nintendo comes from the history, I guess, of them being an innovative company, right? All of their games are originally designed, even if they are built on existing IPs like Mario and Donkey Kong and The Legend of Zelda. Everything is built from the ground up. It's not a copy-paste project, not something that they've already done and do again. It's usually new ideas, fresh concepts. I don't own the games or hardware. I can set aside the price right now. Yeah, that's the part that's got me upset too, is not physically having the right to the console and the media associated. But again, I cannot on a public platform condone working around such safety measures. But those early consoles usually have flaws in them that can be used to circumvent safety measures. Which is a bit of a problem for them to deal with, but it is something that can be done usually on the first and maybe even second generation of consoles. With dire consequences. I mean, they can threaten to like brick the system and all that, sure, but there are ways to, again, circumvent IP tracking and serial number decoding and all that stuff. There are ways around that sort of stuff. None of that is foolproof. It's mostly just a deterrent against the general public being able to do such things. talking about illegal activities in the EULA. I have never specified what I'm talking about. I'm just saying that there are workarounds for a lot of these situations that are being described. And that is where I will leave it. I will not elaborate. Large magical mud. That sounds interesting. My point is, it's so aggressive and unnecessary for them to do this, considering it might be a looks and brain for snake making more snakes problem. I agree. Like I said, I do not agree with the fact that they are basically what is it? Guardrailing people into not owning or not having the full right to the stuff that they're paying for. It's something that definitely should be addressed. But as a tech-savvy individual, I can also say that these problems usually have a way of being worked around really quickly. Sounds like you've been playing devil's advocate to the situation. A little bit. Like I said, I don't hate Nintendo. I understand why they're doing it to an extent. I don't agree with it, but I do understand why. I don't like what someone says. I'm sure there's a workaround. Again, there are different workarounds. It doesn't have to go straight to the extremes, but you do you, man. I can do this, but it's pretty far out there. Well, the workarounds don't need to go to the same extremes, I don't think. We don't like what Nintendo is saying, so let's proverbially murder. No change Nintendo's. Right, so I think you're conflating two separate ideas. If I had to draw a parallel, I would say it's more along the lines of big company is telling you that you have to pay for, let's say, your heating, right? The heating in your room. Let's say you buy a heater. But in order to use the heater, you need to have it connected to the internet at all times, and they regulate the temperature that you're going to be running it at, and for how long, what times of day, etc. That's basically what's going on here. You are buying a piece of hardware in which you have no direct control over how it's being programmed or what sort of use or functionality you get out of it, which is what I have a problem with. If I cannot buy, let's say, a cell phone and be able to install programs to it the way I want it to, that to me is a very big violation of my rights as a consumer, because I'm paying for the actual hardware. I am paying for the software that goes into it. I should have a say as to what needs to be set inside of that device. There are workarounds to be able to control your heater, and that's what I'm saying. You can, in the heater situation, they'll turn it off if they find out. Well, that's the thing, right? That's only if they find out. You can send them a false signal, tell them that it's working properly. You can send your device itself a generated signal from the supposed servers telling it it's connected. There are different ways to go around it. If I operated perfectly. I mean, you don't need to operate it usually. I mean, it really depends on the sort of workaround that's being applied. Maybe I can do what I want, but it's incredibly hard for the average user who just want to own the console. Right, that's been my whole point of contention this whole time. That's the one thing I do not agree with them doing, is them taking away the consumer's right to be able to own the physical device and the hardware the software they buy for it. That has been my entire stance this entire time. I'm not saying it like it's the only solution or the correct solution as that. I would much rather Nintendo just address the problem directly on their end. But in the event that they do not, and again, I do not condone this on a public platform, but there are workarounds if need be. Hashtag brain, I am right. Wow, I did not realize my health was that low. And again, I am not part of Nintendo. I cannot speak to whether they will or will not change things. I do not speak in absolutes until something is known. So all I will say is, if need be, there are usually workarounds. I disagree with the workarounds are the most optimal solutions. Again, Light, you are jumping to conclusions. I never said that it is the optimal solution. I would much rather Nintendo address it directly. But if it is necessary, and I know not everybody's tech savvy, there are usually guides for this sort of thing, specifically for non-tech savvy people. But generally speaking, the first and second generation of consoles will have these sorts of issues generally worked out. I think you're just a little gung-ho about jumping on the bandwagon, which is fine, but it's definitely not a viewpoint that I share. Again, I agree. My console should be my console, and I shouldn't have to go through secondary means to have full rights to it. Well, we already deal with this. We've been dealing with this sort of stuff for decades now. Google and Apple cell phones have had security locks and all this other bullshit put onto them. People still happily pay $200, $300 for a device that they have no full control over. You still need to go and edit the internal kernels and get it into jailbreaking and all that other stuff in order to truly have control over the devices. I also don't want this practice to spread. But again, it is a common industry standard now, and as much as I hate to say it, it is something that if it's not going to be addressed at the company corporate level, has to be addressed on the personal consumer level. There's just no way around it. You can bitch at them, yeah, and then you eventually get an ulcer. You've got to go to the hospital for throwing tantrums at a company that's never going to listen to you. But with their wallets, like, I think you're asking far too much of the general public. Like, I understand in theory that that should be what happens. People should be outraged and not buy products, but the general normal consumer is just gonna see a game that they want to play and a console that they have to buy to get that game, and they're gonna pay the money. I have an ulcer and have to go to the hospital for bitching about a company that's not gonna listen to you. Listen, the phone is hard to not buy. No, it's not. You can buy a phone that is not a smartphone. The Switch one is basically the same as Switch 2. I am also tired of that argument. There are hardware, it's design-wise, yes, the layout is very similar. The internal hardware obviously has upgrades. Everything is speculative right now as to its, you know, I understand the hardware is different. Okay, so what is the complaint here? Maybe I'm misunderstanding. The Switch 1 is sufficient for Nintendo, or what Nintendo produces in the foreseeable future, in my opinion. You don't know that. Nobody knows that. That was the point that I was gonna make. Everything is speculative as to the performance of the new software that's gonna be developed for it. They're even adding GameCubes and whatnot to it. Playing Pokemon Legends Arceus, that game looked like shit. That's because they were still figuring out how to make the engine work properly, as far as I understand. Again, I'm not defending the fact that it looked like dog shit. They could have optimized it a lot better before releasing it. But the subsequent titles looked miles better because they went through the whole learning process on Arceus. Go back to 2D pixel games. I don't think a lot of companies are gonna do that. At least not the major companies anyway. 3D just isn't there yet. I feel like it depends. There are a lot of companies that are trying to do... I'm defending the Switch 2. The reason it looked like shit is because there are hundreds of Pokemon you have to model and you need good specs for that stuff. Yeah. It all comes down to optimization, is basically what I was saying. You need to consider, like you said, the hundreds of Pokemon models. Then there was the open world format that Arceus was in, so you've got to figure out distance, shading, rendering, lighting, all of that stuff gets calculated into the GPU. Having the overhead threshold for the Switch 2 would alleviate a lot of those problems. thus creating for a better user experience. But again, this is all technical speak for gaming nerds. The layman is going to see a game that looks better than the previous installation or the previous iteration of the game. They're going to see that it's exclusive to the new console. They're going to say, hey, I want to play that game. I need that new console to play that game. I'm going to buy the new console and pay for that new game, regardless of whether or not they're aware of the ownership stipulations and all that. I think the Switch One doesn't have the anti-consumer policies, and as far as we know, there's more games with variety on the Switch One. Then you are not aware of how the game cartridges work on the Switch One. The Switch One is basically the same thing as the Switch 2 carts, except they don't have the embedded internal key system. Every single console for the past 10 years has done this. You buy the quote-unquote physical media for a game, but you don't actually own the physical media for that game. What you buy is the installation instructions to connect to the servers to download the proper media to the console. But they can't break my console. Yes, they can. They can hard IP ban you. They can do a whole bunch of things to mess with your online experience. It's not a unique problem to the Switch 2. This has existed for the past decade easily. That's online experience. I mean, sure, but if you know anything about computers, there are ways to put out kill codes into a machine. This has existed since the dawn of computers. Like, it's not a unique Switch 2 problem. I'm pretty sure any of the current consoles, if they were so inclined, can just go around breaking systems. The only difference here is that Nintendo has, for whatever reason, decided that it's an appropriate punishment to list out. But it's not new. The company isn't doing this because it's my console. I own it. Right, and again, I agree with you. It's not something that should be done at any level. But it's not a new concept. It's not something that's inherently a Switch 2 problem. They have not done it yet. Like, you are jumping the gun. They have merely outlined it as a possible final resolution for bad actors that buy their system and meddle with it. But they have not, to record or to date, done anything of the sort that I know of. I haven't said anything wrong. They're doing it as in the process of implementing this change. Again, it's not a change. It's something that has existed in all consoles and computers for the past decade easily. They're just being upfront about the possible ramifications of modders going into the physical system and trying to get into those workarounds that I mentioned earlier. Those would be like the end case for those specific situations. That's all that they were outlining as far as I know. At any point, Xbox could break my Xbox 360. Yeah, it's not that hard. You can physically shut down a CPU by entering specific commands. And if the CPU no longer works, then the entire system is basically dead. just because they haven't publicly announced it doesn't mean that they don't have the ability to. Like, that's what I'm getting at. You're hinged on the fact that Nintendo has publicly spoken out and said that there is a possible ramification to that extent. That is fair. It's fine to be upset about it. But you can't go around saying that it's specifically a Nintendo problem when it's something that literally any company can do. The difference is Nintendo is wielding it. Anyone can do this, but they don't. Usually. Right. And that is where I agree with you. Nintendo should not be using this or publicly stating that this is some sort of fair reaction to what they deem is some sort of violation of their hard work or whatever the fuck they want to rationalize it as. Anybody who pays for a console should have the full rights to that console without any question. That is my stance on it. The problem isn't that this can occur. The problem is Nintendo is doing this to their... Again, we have no way of knowing that they're actually gonna act on it. It's like saying, I don't even know how to equate this. It's like putting in a failsafe inside of a deal that's kind of just there for the sake of being there. In the event that it needs to be there, it'll be acted on. But that's not to say that they're actively gonna go around bricking everybody's console for whatever reason. That's ambrosia. To be honest, I kind of agree. I don't think they should have even the ability to block the brick. That's crazy in my opinion. Access to a game is one thing, but bricking the console is another. I agree. Again, my stance the entire time has been that Nintendo should not be publicly threatening the event that they could possibly, even remotely, throwing the idea out there that they could possibly brick a system. They should not be doing that. I don't care that the sword can be picked up. I care that they are using the sword against... Again, Light, you are jumping the gun. They have not actually done anything to that extent. There's no way to know that they will do it. They've publicly stated that they could. That's the big issue that I have, is that they're even mentioning that they could. That, and I agree. But on the same note, we have to realize that this is not a Nintendo specific problem. All companies have the ability to do this. Just because they haven't done it yet doesn't let them off the hook. Okay, then by that token, all companies should be under fire for this sort of thing, because any company that's running on any sort of computer base is liable to be able to do that. The big issue that everybody's having with Nintendo specifically is the fact that they've publicly threatened that action, which is what I'm also not okay with. Right, so you're stating exactly what I'm telling you. Like, you're angry at the fact that they've stated or they've threatened that they're gonna do this. But we have no way of knowing that they're actually going to act on that word. Or that they're even gonna find, you know, a case use for it. They might just completely ignore that initial threat. We don't know that. To jump the gun and say that they are actively doing it and they've already implemented it, we don't know that yet. I'd be mad if someone threatened me, I take legal action, and that's your right as a consumer. That's perfectly fine. I'm not decrying that, and I'm not saying that that's a bad course of action. I'm just saying that there's, like, anybody who would even consider legal action doesn't really have any ground to stand on, because there's no precedent that they're actually going to act on the words that they're putting out. I am aware, Light, but again, this is akin to saying I promise to, you know, break your knees the next time I see you. That doesn't mean that it's a foregone conclusion. I could still turn back on the word and not do that. There can be legal action. Yeah, anybody can sue anybody for anything at any time. That's what the legal system is for. Whether or not there's legal ground or precedent for it is a completely different matter. Anybody's within their rights to feel offended or threatened. That's fine. But the feeling only goes so far as actual legal ramifications. I'm assuming my parents were making me look ugly. I think that's a completely separate issue to what we're talking about. Do I have enough? I think I should. That's the wrong one. Why do these things have so much health? Also, why is this map so big? I'm pretty sure I went right for like 20 minutes now in this single run. And I haven't hit a wall yet. What do those green crystals even do? I've never found out. So whenever there's an enemy nearby, one of these things, and you start shooting at them, they will heal that enemy and then give them a temporary invulnerability thing. They're very annoying. I don't mean this in a rude way, but I think you're using a bad analogy in this case, because if you threaten violence against me, I can seek legal action and reasonably win. But when Nintendo's doing, I probably wouldn't win. I mean, that depends on the jurisdiction and the level of threat. Like, if somebody tells you over the internet, let's say, you're playing like a Call of Duty match and somebody says, I'm gonna fuck you up or something. Like, nobody's gonna bat an eye. You can threaten them and take them to court, but nothing's gonna come from that. If you... threat of assault is different from a threat of to break your console. Exactly. Like, it's... okay. Then, what analogy would you make? Because, again, whatever Nintendo's threatening right now has no legal precedent anywhere. Which has kind of just been my whole thing right now. I don't like the fact that they are threatening, you know, being able to break a console and like take people's rights away from their hard-earned and paid devices. But legally speaking, they've A, not done anything to that extent before, B, there's never been a history of anything like that, and C, because they've never done anything to that extent, there's no course of action, no actual what's the word I'm looking for? There's no reason to think that they would actually do something like that until it's actually been done. Better parallel is planned obsolescence. I just want to get rid of this thing first, because this thing is going to stop me from killing anything else. But the reason to believe they're going to do these actions because they said they would. Not jokingly. Not as a teen on Call of Duty. This thing is just not dying. And of course it's acid immune. There's reason to believe that they will do this if there isn't pushback. Even joking threats are taken seriously depending on where you live. Someone was arrested for threatening a mayor in Minecraft. Right, but everybody knows that if you say in Minecraft, they don't really mean in Minecraft. Like, that's a very openly veiled threat. Completely different. I mean, when people say in Minecraft, they're usually talking about something really bad. They're trying to be quirky and cover it up as if it were gonna be done inside of a game or something. Technically, you can't know the intent, but it's assumed that it's intentional and threat. That's fair. Again, that all has legal standing because there has been a precedent set already. There have been cases that have taken place in the past where such situations have turned out badly, or, you know, in a very legally actionable way. The thing with Nintendo is that there is no basis for this ever happening before. That's where things get a little difficult. Conversation went on longer than I thought. I mean, it's a very complicated conversation to have. It's something that has a lot of nuance to it. As much as I hate it, it's something that is just not gonna be solved from one day to the next. don't think it's very complicated either. I think Nintendo should just let us do what we want with our consoles and our games and just leave it at that. I feel like every console company should do that. Let's wait for light to come back before I finish that thought. Alright, I think that thing is low enough. Let's go open the box. A lot of stuff. We'll take digging all day. Add mana, sure. Chainsaw, refresh. I don't know what that is, but I want to see. Okay, we'll take that. High key, this was a pretty good roll for Pandora's box. These are all ambrosia bubbles. We got a whole bunch of ambrosia. We've got pheromone. We got add mana. We got everything for a fast fire wand. Oh, 5 minutes till ads is what that was. Okay, I thought it was already playing. And if Nintendo doesn't and thinks we should jailbreak their property hardware if they don't do what we want, I never said such a thing. All I said was that there are usually workarounds in early console generations for the problems that they're presenting us. As a public-facing figure, I cannot condone those sorts of actions, but they do exist. I've always thought that jailbreaking should be legal and that no action should be taken against individuals. It's like telling me I can't fix my own car. I am of the same mindset, and that's why I keep mentioning that these quote-unquote guardrails and safeguards that they're putting into these devices generally have workarounds. Because it is something that is, I feel, within my rights as a consumer to be able to go into the device and mess around with it and fix it as I damn please, because I paid for the hardware. It's the same thing for mods in video games. I should be allowed to go into the game's code and change it around as I like because I already paid for the damn game. I should be allowed to do whatever I feel like with it. Unless it's multiplayer. I think that's a situational thing, right? If it's a thing where it's like Monster Hunter and you're cheesing gear and stuff and generally being a menace to the community at large, then yeah, that should be something that a controlled, there should be repercussions for that. But if it's something like Phasmophobia and you're playing with friends and your friends don't know how to mod or just don't have the ability to do so, but they still want to play those mods, the one friend that is able to should be allowed to make those changes to the game. Well, that's why I said it depends on the multiplayer situation. If it's like solo queuing in Monster Hunter, ban, or you know, put them on a timeout, whatever. But if it's something that is generally agreed upon amongst your friends, but it's still a multiplayer thing, as long as everyone's consenting to it, that should be fine. Or MMO really shouldn't unless it's a modded server. Right, and that's again, you're making a distinction there. If there's a modded server and everybody agrees to it, that's fine. But if it's, like you said, if it's just a standard MMO run by the company and you're logging into company servers, just don't do the things that annoy other people's. Don't mess with other people's experiences. I really like how Timefall handled cheaters. Only cheaters queue with other cheaters. Yeah, I had heard about that. I never played Timefall, but I did hear that they handled that very well. And I am in 100% agreement with the way they handled that. Ooh, black holes. 67. even in Helldivers, you can have client-side visual mods. Yeah, and again, that's perfectly fine. As long as you're not interrupting other people's experiences, by all means, do whatever you feel like with the game. I'm not against any of that. I have enough mana on this? I do. I understand that way isn't the best way to handle cheaters and ne'er-do-wells. Yeah, so in the event of, you know, bad actors, let's say you've got somebody in Helldivers that comes in with mods or cheats that allow them to spam whatever those call-in things are. Let's wait for him to come back. Welcome back. And the EULA is law dictated by the European Union. That is something you need to take up with Europe, not Nintendo. They are outlining details because they plan to change, you know, the model, or they're being more specific about the delivery of their services, which in this case is more along the lines of current consoles, where you buy the key and then you download the game with that key to your device, whereas opposed to like the old Nintendo Switch cartridges, they at least had the base game installed on them, and then you updated, you know, whatever updates needed to be done through the Nintendo shop. But with the recent changes that they're gonna do with like downloading the full game off a server and keeping everything accessed by key, like more modern consoles, that's just them being more specific about the current changes, because EULA has stated that those sorts of specifications need to be outlined more directly to consumers. It is enforced in the US because we have a commercial agreement with the European Union, but the EULA as a document is drawn and signed in Europe. End user license agreement. I know you finished talking about this. I took too long on it though. I also gave up on it. That's fine. I may have misunderstood the acronym for EULA, but yeah, there are different versions of the EULA in that case then. But regardless, a lot of the EULA is an international agreement between different countries because it has to be actionable across all jurisdictions. It's something that is put out internationally. My point is it's legally binding. Right, no, I agree. All I'm saying is the reason that they are specifying so much on Nintendo's end is because a lot of the, from what I've understood, a lot of EULA agreements nowadays have been very consumer forward with information. So like loot boxes have to have percentage draw outs for different loot chances. I think they stopped doing gambling incentive prices, so like you can't have like 10% off your first big bundle or whatever that is. Yes, the quote-unquote surprise mechanics. There's been a lot of changes with regards to consumer practices in regards to the EULA. So Nintendo has been basically forced to be more precise about their language when it comes to how they're distributing their services, because the EULA is forcing them to be more specific about that sort of thing. At least that's my understanding of the situation on that. Why are we hotboxing the Holy Mountain with acid? Because I'm trying to escape Conga. We're doing the... Well, first of all, welcome in. Glad to see you here. It's been a while. We're doing the... What's it called? Tuonela seed on Apotheosis. And I'm trying to get out without breaking the mountain. What did you do to your poor holy mountain? I am breaking out. That's what I'm doing. Welcome in, Ghoul. I don't think they should willfully wield their breaking capabilities. I agree with you, Light. I've not disagreed with you on that point the entire time. They should not be threatening that level of... Huh? They should not be threatening that level of action at any level. But because, like I said, because the EULA is making them specify a whole bunch of different stuff, that really probably doesn't even need to be specified because it's something that every company is able to do. It just makes them look bad. They do need to specify it. Right, that they do. That's why they have specified it. And that's the big issue, is the fact that they've specified it means all the other companies are not going to be under speculation for doing that sort of thing as well. And I feel like it's about damn time. I haven't slept. Why not, Ghoul? You'd have at least taken a nap. What were you doing all day? Or all night, rather, I guess. I can't nap. I never said nap. You could have just outright slept. That is also an option. You have a bed. I sleep like 12 hours if I nap. uh, fair, I guess? It's 8 a.m., I don't know. Hey, we all have those days, it's fine. Ow. I hate this. I hate these things so much. Die. It's every day nearly. What, that you can't sleep? That's not good. It sounds to me like you're having some sort of insomniac issue. You might want to get that checked. I have bad dreams when I sleep too. That's too much effort. I mean, fair, but also it'll be a lot more effort when you've got to go and start taking constant medications to either stay asleep or functional during the day. Only wands should be on. It is on. Does it not show properly? Let me see. Yeah, it's there. It shows. Yeah. Popsicle. I should have a popsicle. I haven't had a popsicle in a while. $402 gold. I hope I get 18 more exactly. I mean, you could try and plan it out. If you break the little gold veins like this, you can just pick them up like a pixel at a time. Now we're out of the Nintendo legal insanity. Yeah, fair enough. It has been a very long conversation. Oh, popsicle from fishing, I see. The fishing thing got covered up by the browser when I opened it to check for the stream wand thingy. Upside down is so cursed. Yeah, tuonela is a very cursed seed. I like it. I'm trying to see if I can make this work some other way. I need a different wand. Ooh, void. Gain immense power, but the void grows jealous of your options. You got 19. Oh. Unfortunate, Trask. Have you played Terraria and or Calamity mod? We have played Terraria a couple of times, and then I reinstalled my OS and we lost the old hard drive, so kind of lost my my drive to play it since we lost those worlds. But yeah, forever ago you had a Terraria server. Yeah, I've been thinking about getting back into it one of these days. What gives you a higher chance to get Void and X perks? Gives decent health and temporary tinker. Temporary doesn't sound very fun. I found a way to find it. I looked into it. I could do a data recovery on my old drive, but that's It's a lot of work and it's a lot of time consuming stuff that I don't really have the time for. There's a way around to get your servers back. Really? I think it was like wiped from Steam's side, which is why I lost it. It's like 20 minutes. What's like 20 minutes? Data recovery? I think that depends on your driver size. Oh, the Tinker. I see. 20 minutes is quite a decent amount of time. I don't like the fact that it grows jealous of options though. I don't want to keep missing out on other things that could be more beneficial. I'm gonna take oil blood. Just break into Steam, murder any employee. I don't think that's how that works, like. The more you get, the more jealous it becomes. Yeah, that's my concern. Or my worry, rather, is that it gets worse the more you pick it up. Oh, bad place. Okay, we're good. We're fine. There's even tutorials for non-tech savvy users on how to break into Steam headquarters. I'd rather not. I'm perfectly fine with where I'm at right now. I'll just start another server at some point soon. And they're out there. We're fine doing 63p. I mean, 63 out of 270 is still decent. It's like, what, 25%-ish? We're good, we're chilling. Ah, rude. That was dangerous. It's the optimal way to do it, trust. Ooh. Auto fire. That's scary. Point of light, tentacler, big bomb, or gigabomb rather. Crit plus. Interesting. Yeah, the 153 HP was a little much. Those missiles should not be doing that much damage. Ooh, that's scary. Did it die? Did it die in the acid bath? I feel like it died. It didn't die. Now it's dead. That was a freaky little bug thing. It had some sort of circle around it. I wonder if that was its primary way to like affect you. I've noticed a lot of the enemies in Apotheosis seem to have some kind of secondary effect tied to them. Every time I see a centipede in my house, oh my god, did it die in the acid bath? Yeah, centipedes are not great to deal with. That's a lot of water. That reminds me, I have ambrosia. I should be staining myself whenever I'm about to fight something. That's scary. Hopefully it's also dead now. New wand, perhaps? Maybe? That's bad, that's bad, that's bad. Okay. 16 HP. We are living. Okay, 7 HP. Still alive, technically. Alright, let's preemptively do that a little bit. That is a shuffle, that's useless to us. We really gotta look for a wand down here though. There's no guarantee that the Holy Mantle will have a wand shop for us. Is it like golf? The lower the HP the better? Some would argue that it is. When you're low HP, at least you don't have to worry about toxic sludge damaging you. That's really about the only upside, I think. Please, game. I just want a wand. That's all I ask. I'm not familiar with this mechanic. Why does Toxic Sludge hurt at low HP? So, Toxic Sludge brings you down to, I believe, about 5% of your total HP, and then below that point it just does no damage. I don't know if it's 5% or just like single digits, but basically once you're at a very low amount of HP, it no longer procs. So you can just be inside of the Toxic Sludge without taking any damage. Okay, that's a dead end. I don't know if I trust that crystal. Sir, I don't know if you knew, but you got 7 HP. I was mildly aware. On a different subject, you want to turn on TI? Maybe. We can only do 1 or 2 runs whenever I eventually kick the bucket. Alright, let's hope that we get a wand shop. Nope. Cool. We're still working with this then. Not great. We will take, I guess LD is the only thing we can take here. We'll take phasing. I kicked you. Hope you kicked the bucket soon in Minecraft. That's fair. We'll see about kicking the bucket. It'd be cool if you could pay a statue to switch the shop from spells to wands or vice versa, assuming you haven't bought anything yet. That would be very helpful, but I think it might make the game too easy. That's why mods like meta leveling exist. Vanilla is already too easy. Depends on where you're going for in vanilla. There are some things that are harder than others. Die percent is really easy. Whoa, was that like a boss? What? He had a health bar and everything. What the hell was that? He was a boss. That's interesting. We have a replacement one now. That's good. Eat his corpse. It would be poly immunity, you are right. There's not much left of it though. Acid tends to dissolve things. I probably should have eaten it a little sooner. Fear of acid. Interesting. I have used that before. I do like it. Leave that there. Don't want that. That's dangerous. Don't need that. Get rid of this. Up that. Put this here. Random homing. Huh. Guess we could do that here. 30, 50, and then we can drop all of this. Projectile teleport all of this into there. Double in front of here. That should work. That's not... No, that is working the way I want it to. Okay, that's fine. Maybe LDC this. That's a little much. I don't want to keep... Nah. Black holes. Fear of acid at the end. I mean, it is a shuffle anyway, so it doesn't really matter, but should be fine. What could possibly go wrong? Oh, why is it invincible? Oh, because of the stupid crystal there. Hello. Damage up, okay. There's another polymorphing mage boss. I gotta get rid of whatever that thing is. That's scary. I'm gonna die. I didn't die. Somehow. Oh, we're dead. We're still dead. We're not dead. We lived. Okay. Get rid of that. Don't laugh at me, I'm trying my hardest here. We've got 40 HP, I'm scared. Oh! I shot too close. Hey, what's up, Zora? It is early AM for you. Good morning. Alright, let's I guess we turn off apotheosis and we turn on devoting. Here is... Nope, that's not the right thing. New game. Alright, votes are up. Let's see how far we can make it. Air feels light. I think that's anti-gravity? No. Maybe just better jumping? Forget what the light air modifier does. Probably not a bad thing though. Matter eater, you say? Don't mind if I do. Okay, matter eater automatically detonates explosives. Good to know. Won't make that mistake again. Ow, rude. Summon Steve. Well, let's hope he's summoned inside of a wall. Well, I doubt it. Okay, that's not bad. That could definitely have been worse. You just stay over there, Steve. That's fine. I'm gonna go this way and pick up some hearts, if you don't mind. I may or may not come back. Probably not. Explosive spells. That'll be useful here. I could aim. That would be great. Help! This is bad. Okay, wait. This is not how I meant for it to go. So much cocktail everywhere. There we go. Okay, bad. Very bad. We're good. We're so good. I see you also suffer from temporary aim blindness. Just a little bit. Just a bit. No, I do not need water. I'm gonna be emptying the water thing out in just a moment. Wait. There's no need to get ahead of us. Take a shower, Stinky? I'm trying. You gotta give me a moment to get ready. Ocean Rain. That's not dangerous at all. Visibilium, Berserkium. What's that? Chaotic Poly. Worm Pheromone. Plum. This was Purifying Powder. Okay. Levitatium. Berserkium, Lava. Could do Berserkium and go take care of Bridge Boss. Ooh, gold. It was a gold potion? Interesting. Don't generally see very many of those. You want the pheromone. Take that. Was that pheromone? It is pheromone, okay. I wonder if it's slow enough yet. Probably not. That definitely wasn't risky. Totally calculated explosions there. That sucks. That should have gone up. We go next. Okay, that went in a big circle to nowhere. Treasure vein. Don't mind if I do. A lot of fire down there. Any orb? Got another fire? No, TNT guy. Ouch. Fire trail, you say? That's fine. Okay, you just spawned right out of nowhere. That's not fair. At the dead end. This is not great. Okay, well, should have seen that coming. Alright, we go next. This will probably be the last one because I'm just now realizing we're going for about 3 hours now. And it is getting rather late, at least on my end. Let me go. Oh no. Bouncing burst. My nemesis. Ouch. Yes, yes, yes. Listen, man, it's 3 a.m. and I've only had a nap from like 5 to... wait. How dare you? Distracting me like that. This is bad. Long distance or gonna need a little more gold for that return. That way we have a guaranteed way out of the mountain without breaking it, just in case we need it. Oh boy, Steve. Wonder where he's gonna show up. He'll be up here somewhere. Oh, there he is. Okay. That didn't take long to figure out. Can't even see what sort of wand this is. There we go. Decent. Not that bad. We'll take it. That being said, that man scares me right now. I don't have a good way to deal with him. So we're just not gonna. Okay, thank you for the help with the fire mage. Would have been nice to get something to deal with Steve, but I'll take it. We gotta go get the return, and then we gotta get the hell out of here. Oh, hello. Hi, miss. Please don't eat me. Thank you. That guy's just going full ham on that wand. better. Has actual mana charge. I think we swap. Fine. Let me in. Let me in. Paranoid now? Just a little bit. It happens. It comes with the territory. Uh, 250, 49, 80, 90 per shot. That should be fine. And we can do long distance return. This 1.5 seconds, 42. Get rid of this, put this here, throw that there. That'll work. Okay. Okay, healing ghosts, nice. Thank you. Much appreciated. Glad to see you're not just out to kill me outright. The prolonged suffering is appreciated. Goes for this since the Holy Mountain? Ah. Well, still, the sentiment does not change. What happened to my wand? Why is it not... Oh, there we go. I guess I just didn't have enough mana. That's fine. Oh, I have weaker wands, I see. Weaker wands is fine. We're still making it work. I can still do this. Okay, that's fine. That's good. 131, 90, that's fine. Okay. Uh-oh. That's not good. I knew that was gonna happen. And I have no more bombs to dig down, so we are going the other way. It's raining gold. Gotta go up and over. That's a lot of gold, please. Oh no, not like this. Let me out. Okay. Let's go. Ow, rude. Yeah, you thought I was gonna be stuck, didn't you? I've learned my lesson. I don't take that perk unless I have a way out now. Clip was still the greatest tea I think I've ever done. It was definitely an experience, I'll give you that. This is like playing a game of chicken with myself. I am not lightning immune. The question is, will I be close enough to shock myself whenever I fire this thing? Three rows of ghosts. Yeah, that's a lot of ghosts. Need a better wand. Pretty sure this is shuffle, yeah. Get out of here. Asking for a friend. Do you still have the spells to saw blade thing enabled? I think I have it disabled. I'm pretty sure it's always been disabled. That's like the only boat that I've disabled. Spells to nukes is fine. I can deal with that. Spells to bombs is also fine. It's the spells to saw blades that I really don't like. That's the only one that I have disabled. Rude. Of water, that's fine. It blocks me from getting down to that holy mountain specifically, but I can work around that. Don't need another recharge reduction. Help! Damn it! This stupid frozen toxic sludge. The healing ghosts can't heal you inside of the ice. That's the one thing they can't do. They can't technically see you, so they don't shoot you. The sludge itself can't kill you, but when it's frozen like that, it becomes a solid hazard, and solid hazards can kill you. See? Material toxic ice. That was fun though. It's been a while since I had a couple of good TI runs like that. I am going to call it there for the night though. It is now 3 a.m. so I should probably get to bed. So you had cold feetsies? More like cold everything. Everything was frozen around me. Purrplecat, thank you. Thank you for the head pats. But yes, it is sleepy time. Here's the music. This is supposed to have sounds. There we go. It's the crunchy cat. Did it freeze on the screen? Oh, okay. I got scared. I was like, what the hell happened to Crunchy Cat? But yeah. That's gonna be... That's gonna be it for today's stream. Thank you all for stopping by. The attention is always appreciated. We had quite the interesting conversations tonight. If anybody missed it, there was a Noita Nemesis tournament that I participated in earlier. The VOD is on Twitch and should be uploaded on YouTube if you want to check that out. It was a fun little thing. Yeah. For streams, I think we may have another one later in the evening today. I am gonna turn that down while I close out here. But yeah, it's always a pleasure having you guys come out. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day or evenings wherever you are. Anybody watching this VOD as a YouTube later on, I wish you the same. And I will see you all next time. Have a good one, everybody. I think one of the other cats has a very ASMR-esque sound to it. Let me see if I remember which one it is. Thank you, Zora. Thank you for stopping by. Always a pleasure to see you here.
Meow.
Meow. Meow.
Meow. Meow.
Maybe it was Crunchy Cat. It probably was Crunchy Cat. That's fine. Yeah, I'll see you around. I'll try to get another stream out later in the afternoon today. Assuming I don't get called in for work last minute. And then we'll figure out the rest of the week from there. But yeah, have a good rest of your day, Zora. Thank you for stopping by. Alright, I am actually gonna cut my mic off now. Have a good one, everybody.